Naturtrüb und erfrischend fruchtig. Richtig lecker. Krombacher Radler Naturtrüb. Der kräftige Radlergenuss aus naturtrübem Krombacher Kellerbier und fruchtiger Zitronenlimonade. Erfrischend fruchtig und weniger süß im Geschmack. Krombacher Radler Naturtrüb. Probieren Sie es selbst.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, this is Chrism, and I'd like to welcome you to this conversation about your Kundalini awakening experience. And today I would like to welcome you from this midnight broadcast from Besançon, France, which is right near the Switzerland border, on the eastern borders of France. And I would like to thank my gracious hostess, Magdalene de Deus, for allowing me to spend the night at her house and to be able to broadcast from her sacred space here in Besançon, France. So thank you, Magdalene de Deus. I'd also like to thank Amelia Centauro, and I'd like to bring Amelia on. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Chrism. Good to hear you.
Good to hear you too, and I would just like to thank you, Amelia, and John, and Jonathan, and Emma, for such a wonderful and educational, exciting, beautiful, fun trip in Ireland the past few weeks. So thank you very much.
Oh, you're very welcome. We were delighted that you visited us and that you stayed with us. It was a great pleasure. So thank you for that. So I'll begin, if I may.
Sure.
Well, I begin with my announcements. Okay. The first announcement I'd like to make is to bring your awareness to where you can make a donation to support the work that Chrism does. And if you go to a site, www.ascension-kundalini.blogspot.com, you will be able to make a donation there if you are in a position to do so, and of course, if that is what you would like to do. There's a donate button there, and it is very, very easy to use. Donations aren't expected, but donations are indeed very welcome, because this is how the work that Chrism is supported, and it is his only means really of being supported in a financial way. Another announcement that I'll just introduce you to would be if you would like to phone in, you can ring the call number, and it is USA 347-934-0026. And if you have a question for Chrism or a comment to make about any aspect of the Kundalini awakening process, well then please do ring in. 347-934-0026, and I would be delighted to put you through to Chrism. The chat room is up and running, and we have some guests already logged in. I can see Julie is there, and Steve is there, and some other guests are also there that have numbers after them. So you're all very welcome indeed. And again, if you have any questions or comments to make, please do type them in, and I can let Chrism know what you are saying. Also, I would appreciate if you would let us know about the sound quality, if somebody, maybe Julie could do that, or somebody, when Chrism starts speaking, and that everything is going well. Also, I have no announcements myself to make now about seminars, but Rosemary will probably be on in a little while, and she will be able to make an announcement about her seminar that she is organising in Minnesota at the end of September. So I look forward to hearing from her later. So that's it, Chrism.
Okay, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for making those announcements, Amelia. I see Rosemary is on right now, so I'm going to bring her on. And I would like to thank you. Hello, Rosemary.
Hi there, Chrism. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you as well. And I would like to, first of all, I'd like to come right out and say thank you very much to you, Rosemary, and also to Eileen Laurel for both of you, working hard to organize that seminar in Minnesota. So if there's anybody listening that would be interested in attending a Kundalini Awakening seminar in Minnesota, then I would like you to contact Rosemary Goliath or Eileen Laurel. And I will not give your phone number out, Rosemary, but if you can give your email that you would like to be contacted with, and I know that Eileen can be reached at kundaliniliving@gmail.com, I believe. Is that right, Rosemary?
I have something else, other address for her, but she could let you know that, too. My address is rosemaryg@usinternet.com.
Would you like to make the announcement about your seminar?
Yes, please. The seminar in September is September 27th and 28th, and Eileen and I have been working the last few weeks especially to find as many places as we can get in the information about the seminar. I have the video of Kundalini and have set a couple times to do that already, and I intend to do that through the summer. And it's just delightful, the conversation we're having.
You have video of Kundalini, Rosemary?
We have the Kundalini DVD. That's its name, Kundalini.
Oh, I see. Yeah, you have the DVD of the Kundalini movie. I see. Yes, great.
So
okay.
That will be part of it, and time for questions and to share my experience. So it's a wonderful experience to be doing this. And Eileen had done this in 2011 when I did the seminar, so she has a lot of contacts yet, that people who remember her, and it's a great blessing.
And let me go ahead and bring Eileen on here. And I think, hello, Eileen.
Hi, Chrism.
How are you this afternoon for you?
I'm fine. It's beautiful here.
It is Kundaliniliving at gmail.com, right?
No, it's
what is it?
It's ELORO55 at yahoo.com.
Oh, I see. So, but that account that I just mentioned is an active account, correct?
No, I don't have an email for my Kundalini Living. I have an eKundalini at gmail.com.
Oh, I see. Okay. All right.
eKundalini at gmail.com.
All right. And I just want to thank both you and Rosemary, for organizing it and starting to put this together. So anybody in the Midwest or even on the East Coast or internationally coming down from Canada, this is a good opportunity to expose yourself to Kundalini Awakening and all the beauty and joy and excitement that can hold for you. So anyway, I just want to thank the two of you very much, and I have to tell you that I'm holding my voice a bit low here because Magdalene does have neighbors, and I don't want to wake them up as it is midnight here.
You're coming in very clear. This is the most clear I've heard you in a long time. I don't know what's different, but it's really nice. Really nice.
Well, that's good to hear.
And
Thank you.
I want to say one other thing, Chrism, can I say one other thing?
Please do.
Okay. It's been very interesting reconnecting with people that I worked with 2 years ago for the seminar, and there seems to be a larger audience, more interest in Kundalini, and that's so refreshing. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, I think people are starting to wake up, and so I think this is the time. This is the time for Kundalini.
And I would agree by what Rosemary and I are experiencing. So thank you.
Well, thank you both. Thank you both for doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and put you on in the blue. So we're going to go blue here. Okay, everyone. So those are some of the announcements, and thank you, Amelia Santara, for making the announcements about the donation page and the other announcements that you've made, and of course the number for the guest call in is 347-934-0026. And as Amelia mentioned, any question you might have about your Kundalini awakening, you should feel free to call in. And for those in the archives, listening to this program in the archives, I'd like to say hello to you and welcome to you. And if you have questions about your Kundalini, you can contact me at kfireforall@yahoo.com. That's KFIREFORALL @yahoo.com, and I'll be happy to get back to you about that. Actually, and then I need to point out the YouTube network. You can reach when I come back from this trip, there will be over 300 videos on the Kundalini awakening process itself. And so I would really encourage anybody that likes to look at a video. These aren't long videos. I don't do really, really long videos. But the videos are proving to help a lot of people. And so I would like to welcome anybody to come to that. You can go to Chrism, the number 0, Kundalini, and kind of looks like Chrism O Kundalini, and put that into the search box on the YouTube network, and you can view those videos. You can also join us at Kundalini Awakening Systems 1 at yahoo.com and Kundalini Healing at yahoo.com, as well as Kundalini Awakening Systems, Kundalini Awakening ! On Facebook, as well as Kundalini Healing at Facebook as well. We're going to go ahead and get this show going here now. In many ways, the rishis of the Sanskriti nation that through thousands of years morphed into the Indian subcontinent, or the subcontinent of India, the rishis had a very, very good grasp of the Kundalini. I mean, it's undeniable, and yet within that context, other very, very ancient cultures also had a very good grasp of the Kundalini, and yet they didn't have the fine level of oral history that the rishis of the Sanskriti nation or Sanskriti civilization had, and in many ways their information was lost to the world. However, some have been rediscovered, and Amelia Santara and I, this last few days actually, we went to a place where we've talked about it before. We've talked about Newgrange in Ireland, and Newgrange in Ireland definitely has Kundalini potentials and expressions, and one does get Kundalini phenomena when they go into the Passage Temple, which the scientists call a Passage Tomb. One will get that. I mean, we've had everything from baby spiders to flashes of blue light, and this last time I went in with the last seminar, I got a big bright blue-white star right in my face. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And Newgrange is definitely a place a person may want to visit if they are exploring the Kundalini awakening. But another place in the same general area is called Knowth, and it's Knowth. And I went there for the first time with Amelia Santara yesterday or the day before. I think it's yesterday. It was amazing, just amazing to see so much Kundalini communication put down on stones that weighed over 10 tons. I mean, everything from the Shakti snake to Shiva lingams to radiance rays and spirals. And it was just absolutely amazing. And the energetic discharge from that site is just extreme. As I have been doing a lot lately, went straight into bliss, and just kind of froze there for the bliss to take its effect. I would really, really recommend that for those of you in Europe who have the opportunity maybe to take a little mini holiday and come on over to Ireland and check out Knowth there. it's an exceptional site, and it does give out a penetrative, energetic frequency that you will feel. It's just amazing, and I'll kind of leave it at that. But these folks also knew about the Kundalini. It's very, very clear in their communications. They knew about Kundalini. They knew about the idea of as above, so below, as within, so without. They knew it to such a degree that they would chisel their artwork into these megalithic stones, and they would chisel them on both sides of the stone. The side that was showing outward to the seeing eye, but they would also chisel it on the inside that nobody of a physical nature is seeing. This is a real example of the as within, so without equation. And I'd like Amelia to come on and talk about her experiences there. Hello, Amelia.
Hello, Chrism. Well, it's amazing, really, because when we went to North, I had such wonderful experiences in Newgrange. I was wondering what it would be like. And when you go into the site, there is a huge mound, the main mound. And from the moment that I went in there and began to walk, I could feel, this frequency coming off that. I could feel the energetics of it. And it went straight to my heart and actually to my whole being. And it was there the whole time. Not just, it was amazing. It really was amazing. And while I didn't feel bliss in the way that Chrism did, I did feel bliss in the sense that my heart was joyful, and I could feel this beauty within me and this vibration. And as we walked around and looked at the stones, there would have been some stones that really spoke to me, that I got, whoa, again, and there would be a flow of penetrative is a very good way of describing it, actually, and it would just, move into me, and it was absolutely beautiful. There was an absolutely palatable discharge coming from those stones, and it was quite amazing. And I would really, I don't think it's fair to say one site is more than the other, but this one has its own signature, I suppose, is a way to put it, and it is a very, very strong one. I loved the fact that there was this big, huge stone, and the man that was giving us the tour, or was telling us about the site, was, as Chrism was saying, they told us that they used to chisel, and this is just done with, by hand, and it's quite amazing, the work that would have to be done to create these spirals, which are actually beautifully done. And the spiral, whatever design was on the inside, was never seen by people until they began to, what's the word I'm looking for, help the site, improve the site. That was when they discovered that on the inside were also these beautiful designs. And it immediately came to me, as within, so without. It was just incredible, really. And I would, as Chrism said, I would recommend that if you are in a position to come to these sites, that you do so, because it's a communication not just from the people, I feel, that lived back then and created this and were in communion with their Kundalini. Also with my own Kundalini, there was a beautiful connection and a beautiful communication as well. And being with Chrism, of course, in a site like that was also wonderful. So
it was amazing, and it was amazing to be there with you as well, Amelia. Thank you, Thank you for your feedback on that. It looks like Rosemary has a question. Is this true? Rosemary, do you have a question? Yeah.
I would like to leave a message with Amelia. I'm sorry to interrupt what you're saying, Chrism.
Not at all, my dear. I'll put you right on over there. Okay, and so, these megalithic civilizations and the civilizations of the rishis were actually quite profound in their ability to work with the Kundalini and through the Kundalini, and to really be able to communicate to future people what that language would be in a language that is pictorial, much similar to Egyptian hieroglyphics, and yet of a completely different culture, and yet chiseled on the rocks to last for many, many, many millennia. So really, it's really only new to us and to the people who are awakening suddenly in this time, as Eileen mentioned. People are starting to wake up, and it is extremely important that they get the appropriate kind of information to help them awaken in a safe and sane way. And this doesn't include a psych ward. This doesn't include being addicted to pharmaceutically created drugs or medicines. This basically includes just giving people a level of information that they can have and that they can hold, and that they can use and feel the effect of this information upon their Kundalini awakening. What's been happening a lot lately, at least within the people that are contacting me, is entity possession or attempted entity possession of an individual. And I just want you to know that you don't want to listen to anything that a voice in your head is telling you to do. This voice is what I refer to as an entity. Sometimes you'll see a physical or a physical-like form, but much of the time it'll just be a voice in your head saying such and such is such and such, and it's absolutely false. And even if it is true, it will eventually lead to some sort of a test of your ability to discern the truth from the lie. And it's not always easy to do that. And sometimes the blowback from making that mistake, the mistake of not knowing the truth from the lie, can be quite severe. So I just want you to know that trust your Kundalini, and the Kundalini will not typically come to you in a voice. It will come to you as I mentioned in the other show. It'll come to you as a lady in red, or a blonde woman, or a man with brilliant blue eyes, or a wolf, or a tiger, or a serpent, or a spider, or any of the top of the pyramid Kundalini animals. But typically not as a voice. So really be aware of that. Know that I'm not saying it's impossible, and I'm not speaking in absolutist terms, because the Kundalini it can do anything it wants. And if a person's karma dictates that they have a voice in their head that is of the Shakti, well, then of course that will be what it is. But it is far from common. It is far from common. Now, you'll be guided through a very strong intuitive influence by the Kundalini as well. But the Kundalini doesn't cuss at you. It doesn't try to manipulate you. It doesn't try to hurt others by using you as that tool. It doesn't do any of these things. And so I want you to be very clear in your discernment of your Kundalini awakening process about what is typically probable and what isn't. And having a voice in your head telling you to hurt people is not the Kundalini. Okay, it is not the Kundalini. It is a discarnate entity, and because your reality may not have included, talking to a spirit or having a spirit communicate to you in the middle of your head for no reason, it can be kind of earth-shattering, and that can kind of lead you into religion. You might just all of a sudden get religion real quick, and that won't help you so much either, because it will just it'll call itself God, and then anything that God tells you to do, then it will expect you to do. So, an example of this is that new movie. If you go see the new movie Noah, Russell Crowe's out there. He's Noah, and God isn't speaking to him with words. God speaks symbols and through some overt phenomena, thanks to Hollywood. But just like that, the Kundalini will not typically give you words. Typically. And so to help you discern through that, don't respond to any kind of a voice in your head that is telling you to do this or to do that, even if it feels loving and joyful. It shouldn't be happening. Somebody is crossing over and trespassing into your headspace, and I would like you to really, really consider this and ignore it as much as you can. Trust the Kundalini and the Kundalini alone, or a teacher that the Kundalini sends you to. And it doesn't have to be me. It can be anybody that the Kundalini sends you to. Sometimes the Kundalini will send you into a situation that would be teaching, such as yoga, or say a yoga retreat, or a Vipassana retreat, or even a certain kind of career choice, such as business or the military or something like that. It doesn't mean that is going to be your career. It's just that it has teachings that the Kundalini sees is positive for your spiritual evolution, however that may occur for you. Okay? So trust the Kundalini in how it is beginning to direct the different frequencies of information and energy that come to you in an expanded format through the actual awakening process. So it looks like, Amelia, can you come on? Let's see.
Sorry, Chrism, it's quite slow. I'm here.
It's quite slow. Okay, yeah. So if you have a question from the chat room, can you go ahead and just pipe it through, regardless of whether I'm in that space of just the Shakti talking through me?
Yes, I will do that, Chrism. So far, no questions, but we have a few more guests. Tim has joined us, and Vashji has joined us, and some other people. So welcome, everybody. And if you have any questions, please do write them, and I will relate them to Chrism. Okay, Chrism, I will do that.
Thank you. Nice to see that you're here with us, Julie and Vashji and Tim and some of the others that Amelia mentioned, including those guests that have numbers after their names. Thank you for joining us in this conversation. Now, as we come back into the ancient peoples and how they related to this, it seemed to be a far less resistant paradigm of their reality than it is with ours. Here in this society, in the Western technological society, we seem to have to fight tooth and nail in order to have the Kundalini awakening without being subjected to electroshock therapy or chemical therapy or sedative type therapies, without being labeled as crazy or nuts or things of that nature. This is, and I'm not saying that the ancients had it any easier, but I know that we're going through that right now. And I just want to welcome those of you who may be listening to this right now or in the future as your Kundalini awakening experience continues. Validate it for yourself. Find a different way. You don't have to listen to me. You don't have to, any of my information. You can just take it or leave it. But find a way to validate your experience as not being crazy. Okay? If you're having, at least three Kundalini awakening phenomena, then begin to validate the Kundalini within you. Don't try to continuously disprove it. Okay, because it won't fit with scientific understandings or medical understandings or psychiatric understandings. Because I can tell you right now, it won't fit that way. It will not fit that way. It will not dance to that music. It dances to its own music within you. And as you begin to lower your resistance to the Kundalini, you'll begin to dance to that music too. And it's a beautiful dance. And it's a dance that's going to last the rest of your life. For the rest of your life and into the next expression. Because Kundalini is of this world and not of this world at the same time. So the aspect that is not of this world will just collect the aspect that is and bring it along with you as you go into your next expression. And what I mean by that is as you die, your Kundalini will come with you. It's one of those things that will do that. I can't really think of any other. It's such a tangible quality that does, except for your emotions and your memories. And even the memories have the capacity to fade. Okay? But Kundalini doesn't. It just keeps on going. And I want you to know this as you begin to embrace your phenomena, as you begin to embrace your energetic equation, as you begin to embrace the new experiences that begin to come up through you and into you. And one thing I'm going to talk a little bit about that I haven't talked about before, and it's apropos to the conversation about the entities and possessions and things of that nature. If you can at all, if you know for a fact that you're in the middle of a Kundalini awakening, say the first 5 years of it, I'm going to suggest that you don't go into haunted places. You don't need to pick up any other parasites that might just want to hitch a ride on a person. And you know, they see you quite clearly. You may not see them yet, but you are actually quite visible to discarnate entities. Amelia and I went into a castle. I'm going to tell you the name of the castle so you don't go into it. Okay. And I know some of you are going to take that up as a challenge, and that's fine. That's your choice. But I'm going to suggest that people don't go into the Kilkenny Castle if you're Kundalini awakened. This is the Kilkenny Castle in Ireland, simply because the onslaught of entity interaction is quite palpable, and it can make you dizzy, and it can make you feel sick, and it can, all of these things. And even though the town there won't say anything about the hauntings that are occurring there, what has been posted on the web is that they put in an electronic human counter, so that every time you walk through the door, this electronic counter counts you. You pass through the light, and it counts you. And when they close the castle up at night, as soon as they close it, the counter is counting over 100 people coming into the castle every night when it's absolutely empty. And they returned the machine to the manufacturer. The manufacturer checked it out, said it's working just fine. They put it back in, and once again, over 100 extra people every night when the castle is closed. And this can give you an idea about the level of duration that some of these really old castles can have. It won't be exciting, believe me. It won't be exciting. They don't let you take pictures. They ask you not to take pictures. Some people have, and they have, of course, they've come up with some ghost evidence there. But from a Kundalini awakened standpoint, entities are a dime a dozen. It's not a big deal, and actually, it's not something that I would suggest that you go out and look for. Okay, Amelia and I, we went in there. First we saw a nice castle. But as soon as you go through the door, oh my gosh, you got squashed. Here's Amelia. She'll be telling you about her experience there. Hi, Amelia.
Hi, can you hear me, Chrism?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, what's interesting about this castle is that it's very preserved. It's been reconstructed. It's beautifully presented. It has rooms. It's huge. If you Google Kilkenny Castle, you'll see it. It's not in any way pitched to be a haunted castle. There's no talk about hauntings, nothing. So we just went along to it as I wanted Chrism to see it because it is a beautiful example of a castle that started in the 12th century, I think, and, was gradually added to. And it was a very powerful family that lived there. In actual fact, Anne Boleyn, that married King Henry VIII, I think she was his first wife, came from that family. So we went there with no expectations and with nothing around hauntings or anything like that. And when we went into the beginning of the castle, into the entrance part, boom, I was hit immediately with this intense, I could just feel entities everywhere. I don't visually see, but I could feel them, and I could feel the different energies from different entities that were there, and it was very overpowering. It made me very dizzy, to the point where I had to hold on to the wall for a moment or two. Now, by the time we got down to the end of that corridor, I was climatized. I mean, in the sense that I was grounded again, and I was fine. I mean, they were still there, but it was fine. I was ignoring them anyway. But then we went into the next, we call it, area, and the exact same thing happened again. And I have never, been in a place where there were so many entities. I mean, they were non-stop, continuously coming. And when, was it the second or third area, I felt, will I speak about this, Chrism?
You spoke about it to me. Yeah, you got smacked on the back.
I got smacked on the back because I just went, when that happened, it was very unexpected, and it was a definite smack in the upper back, and there was nobody there. And then a little while later, I was touched in the back a couple of times gently, and then I also had the experience of hot needles, I suppose, as a way of, that kind of electric shock sort of thing.
Yeah, it feels like cobwebs. Feels like
and
electric cobwebs when you walk through them. I mean, it's just, it's a sensation, and it's actual, and it is tactile. And I don't recommend that people do it, but go ahead. I mean, continue.
Yeah, so, I mean, it was very interesting, lots of portraits and lots of things to listen to. But at one point we were in a big hall, I suppose, with lots of portraits, and I'd had enough. I was happy to go, not through fear or anything, but I just thought, you know what, this is done. So very soon after that, she left.
She's standing at the entrance to this large picture gallery, and she looks at me and she goes, "Do we have to go in there?" And I went and she came in after me, and we just looked at it, and it was so packed with entities that it's not a thrill. I mean, I understand for Ghostbusters and people who don't have the Kundalini, therefore they don't have such continuous contact with entities, if that is part of a person's Kundalini equation, then it can be a real big thrill and all of that. But boy, I tell you, it just gives you a headache, to have to just walk through that. It's like walking through a fog of many different consciousness. And I felt it.
You can feel the different, emotions or energies of where the person is at, and some of them were from different eras, and that's all felt, and it does give you a headache, and it does, it's not something I would actively seek out, I have to say. No.
Yeah, and this. Thank you, Amelia. This is exactly right. It's just as Amelia said. It is not something that you want to actively seek out. Certainly not within your Kundalini awakening experience. Simply because you get to a point where you don't need to attract negative phenomena or phenomena that's going to cause you continuous disturbance. If that's what you're looking for, if you're a person that is looking for phenomena all the time, then you may end up paying a kind of a stiff price for that search. Yes, Amelia?
Yes, there is a question here from Steve, so if I may read it out, Chrism.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it says, I talk with my Kundalini daily. Part of that communication is asking my Kundalini, it just moved, is asking my Kundalini to become more conscious becoming more conscious within and to play an active part in my life expression. Any chance of something else coming in to take advantage of that opening?
Absolutely, Steve.
Okay.
No, I understood. Absolutely, Steve. And I know that you do a lot of different venues of spiritual application and spiritual practice, and that attracts a lot of entities alone. That in and of itself, certainly Reiki does. And so as you reach out to your Kundalini with your conscious mind, sending out a verbal intention of speak to me or become more shall we say active in my spiritual experiences. Yeah, a discarnate entity can come in there and go, "Hey, Steve, this is your Shakti." Yeah, I'm finally answering you, and I've been really busy lately, and I just heard you, and it can just begin to weave this little story about how you're so good and so wonderful and so perfect, but you got to do everything that I tell you to do, Steve. But Steve, I know that you're mature enough within your spiritual evolution that you know to practice the noble behaviors. And look and discern through the veil of the noble behaviors before you make any kind of a decision whether or not it's real or not. Shakti will typically come to a person through strong intuitive leanings towards the noble behaviors. It will also come in a person's dream along the lines of what I've mentioned in some of the other conversations we've had here. It will come to you, but it won't necessarily come the way your ego wants it to come. Okay, we're all very, very visual people. We're all very, very vocal people. We like to talk. We like to hear. We like to see. But it's not necessarily going to, come to a person along those expected lines of communication. Not saying that it never will, just saying that it's, it is typically, in my interactions with many, many, many people, awakening, in my own experience of my own Kundalini awakening, it goes outside of the normal 5 sense expectation. It doesn't want to be, for you to have the expected 5 sense interaction with itself as it begins to guide you through your process. So I would really, I think you should turn it around, Steve. I think you should bring yourself more into the Kundalini Shakti and what it wants to do with you, and do that by virtue of the noble behaviors. Forgiveness, tolerance, love, happiness, joy, compassion, service to others, things of that nature. Insert yourself into the Kundalini rather than asking the Kundalini to insert itself into you. It's already there. You've already got it going. Okay, so now that the blend is happening, make it stronger. Make yourself, let me rephrase it. Put yourself into a position of joining with the Shakti rather than asking the Shakti to join with you. That already occurred. Okay, that already occurred by virtue of your karma, by virtue of your practices, by virtue of your spiritual evolution that have already occurred. Now, it's not to say that you're done. Well, you're certainly not done. There's a long ways to go. Kundalini is a blessedly long and involved and sometimes complicated and often simple journey. But I think it is better for a person to insert themselves into the Kundalini by virtue of, say, practicing the safety protocols for Kundalini awakening, and by virtue of expressing the noble behaviors, which are also part of the safeties protocols as well. So yeah, and if you have a follow-up question about this, Steve, feel free to ask, because I'll be happy to answer it for you. And anybody else that may have a question about their Kundalini awakening experience, they can do so. Yes, Amelia.
Yes, Steve is actually typing. Oh, he stopped. I was going to say Steve is typing, so I'm sure he's typing again. And also, Chrism, devotion, I think, would be part of a way that this could be done as well, would it not? Well, or so it is for me anyway.
Well, devotion in and of itself is a huge step in the right direction with the Kundalini. But that's such a, I always hesitate a little bit before I suggest people go into devotion, because it's so it's an anti-behavior with regards to the Western technological society. That I certainly know from my experience being raised in the United States. Be your own man. Don't get on your knees to anybody or thing. We're really taught, I think, in many ways, in the United States at least, and in other countries, I'm sure, that you don't pray to a person. You don't pray to an intangible energetic force. An intangible implies that it's not to be sensed through the five senses. Devotion is the strongest, fastest, and safest way to come into the Kundalini, in addition to the noble behaviors and the safeties. I didn't put devotion into the safeties simply for the reason I've just been stating. The people in India know about devotion. It is an absolute part of their culture, part of their society, and the amount of saints that they have, and the amount, everybody from Yogananda to Vivekananda to Ramakrishna to, you just Sri Aurobindo, who I mentioned last week. I think you'd be very hard pressed to find similar expressions of Kundalini awakening in the Western societies. And one of the reasons why they have such a plentitude of Kundalini awakened teachers is through their acceptance and practice of devotion to the Kundalini. And whatever teacher that Kundalini may lead you to come to, and it does, it leads you to a teacher, because it knows you're going to need to hear it in the flesh and in the physical and through your ears, into your spinal cord and into the chakra system, and further into the energetic anatomy. Did you have...
Steve has written here, Chrism, tears are coming with my knowingness and what I feel from you. Thank you so much. Happy tears.
Oh. Tears of bliss, my friend. Tears of bliss. Right back to you. I tell you what, I've been having bliss so much lately. It's happening on the airplane. I'll be reading something here in a little bit to hopefully give some of the listeners bliss as well. I want you to pay attention to the voice, to the Shakti in my voice. Feel the timbre of the voice. Feel the sound of the voice. Close your eyes and feel. Close your eyes and see. Feel the Kundalini coming into you this way, and allow it to do so. Kundalini, as far as I can, I've had quite a bit of experience. I think it's like up to 24, 25 years now inside of a Kundalini awakening. And I know that's not the longest that anybody's had, but it certainly isn't the shortest. Kundalini is there for you, and it is working for you. It wants you to succeed in this. It wants you to have this. It wants you to have this bliss. It wants you to have this experience. It wants you to feel the love, the joy. It wants you to begin to actively embrace your spiritual evolution by the awakening of grace of the Kundalini within you. It is, yes, it will challenge you. I guarantee you, it will challenge you. It will not be the easiest ride that you've ever had in your life. You may get bucked off that pony every now and again, but you'll also be getting right back on it. Okay? I don't want you to feel like you need to be in control of your spiritual evolution, because you're not. You are not. Kundalini is. So if it's awakened or activated within you right now, really, take the initiative out of your ego and give it to the Kundalini. As I was saying to Steve, insert yourself into the Kundalini. Give yourself to the Kundalini. And right on the heels of what Amelia Santara mentioned with regards to devotion, devotion is one of the safest and strongest and most effective ways to bring yourself into the Kundalini awakening experience, but also to answer and to find the answers that you may seek from the Kundalini by joining more rapidly and more thoroughly with it. By intentionally letting go of your resistance and intentionally letting go of your fears. Because I have to tell you, the Kundalini is going to test your fears. It will come at you in ways that it knows represents your fear potential. It knows you better than you know yourself. It's been with you since birth and before birth. It was there as you were choosing that body that would have patterns of probabilities that would create the awakening or the activation of the Kundalini to happen at all. Think about that. Think about that and let that guide you. Let that be your guidance. Devotion is very strong, and I'm a full advocate of devotion. I was in devotion. Once I found out what it was, and paid attention to what was being communicated to me, not through words, but certainly through dreams, and certainly through some of the paranormal phenomena that was occurring. My awakening journey took much longer than Steve's or other people's, who may be listening, because it's just a paucity of information. I didn't have any information what's going on, and so I had to learn to pay attention to this force rather than be afraid of it, rather than put myself into a psych ward, rather than get myself addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, which wouldn't help it, just make it worse. Yeah, Amelia.
Tim asks a question, and it is, why would Kundalini instigate fear if it wants us to know our bliss?
Well, that's a good question, Tim. Thank you. Thank you for asking it. Kundalini wants you to know fear because you cannot, well, let me back up here. The Kundalini awakening process is very similar to building a divine temple inside your body. And that divine temple isn't to be built with bricks that are made of fear. And so one of the most effective ways of taking a person out of fear is to help them face it head on and to help them do it. And so the Kundalini will definitely bring you fear so that you can take yourself through it. Once you start taking the steps in the right direction with facing the fear, the Kundalini will reward you almost instantaneously. Say, for instance, say you're being chased by a black dog. This is one of the common phenomena of the Kundalini. A black dog with red eyes will be chasing you, and it wants to eat you, it wants to kill you, it wants to bite you. And when you finally get tired of running away from that thing, and you turn around and you face it, and you hold out your arm and you say, "Here, take a bite." Boom. Dog disappears, and you're in bliss. Same thing with being eaten by a giant snake. I know this sounds terrible. I know how this sounds. Okay, I know how this sounds. But I also know that it's true. It's true. Sometimes a person may be chased by a giant serpent, and the serpent will want to eat it. Well, when they turn around and say, "Take me, eat me, go ahead," and it will rear up and it will open its mouth and close them over you, and boom, that experience is over and will not return because you have faced your fear. You have faced your fear. Now it doesn't just come in the ways of, being eaten by a dog or a snake. It comes with the fear of not having any money, any kind of a survival-based fear, whether it's your health. It'll come to you as a fear of death. Oh my God, I'm not healthy. I might die tomorrow. What am I going to do? That type of a scenario. So Kundalini helps you realize a way through the fear process so that your inner divine temple is composed of bricks that are made from your spiritual evolution, from taking fear out of the equation by actually experiencing it and then making a choice to no longer be afraid. When you turn around and you face that dog and you offer it your arm, that's a big change from running away from it. And I also want to, a lot of people have the assumption that Kundalini is all about just bringing you bliss and happy, joy, marshmallows, sugar plum berry. It's not. It's really there to do the hard, difficult work with a person. The hard, difficult work that people don't want to do because it's not happy, joy. It's dealing with those fears. It's dealing with negative self-talk. It's dealing with issues, behavioral issues that we may have with regards to how we relate to other people. Dealing with the dirt. Nothing gets to be swept under the carpet. Nothing gets to be ignored. And the Kundalini is there, and she will not let you ignore it. The sacred male, he will not let you ignore it. And yes, Centaur, it looks like you have a question there, my dear.
I think that just came up. The cursor was over that place, so I don't have a question.
Okay. Are you wearing headphones? Are you
Say
wearing
that
headphones?
Again?
Are you wearing headphones? Okay, just checking. Thank you, my dear. Thank you. So yeah, to go along, continue along this line. It's not about being happy all the time. You will get bliss. Oh my gosh, and you'll get to a point where bliss is what you feel most of the time. As I mentioned at the beginning of the program, I'm here at Magdalene de Deus' house, and we were walking around Besançon today, and talking about different things. And one of the things that we talked about was, the rise and fall of good experiences, and then the expectation is like, oh my gosh, I'm having this great experience, and oh my gosh, now I know it's going to end. I'm going to feel terrible. And I told her, you don't have to have it. It doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. You can feel joyful all the time, but you have to earn the place you have to get rid of some of the negative self-talk, some of the negative, and this goes with anybody. This is her specifically. This is, 95% of the Kundalini waking people. We have to learn how to control our thoughts. Specifically, our thoughts about others and our thoughts about ourselves, because our thoughts about others are a reflection of how we're thinking about ourselves. And the Kundalini knows this. The Kundalini knows this, and she will bring it into your awareness, and it will not always be a pleasant experience. It will not always be a pleasant experience. But as you mature into your awakening experience, as you mature into this Kundalini evolution, levels of bliss come at you all the time. I was in bliss, I cannot tell you many times today. Thank God I'm not driving a car. Although I have to say, she doesn't come to me when I drive, which is nice. In a blissful way, she'll I get informed if there's a danger, or if there's a certain issue I road ahead, or if there's something wrong with the car, things of that nature, if I'm going the wrong way. things like that. I'll get a twinge of intuitive knowing about that. And the Kundalini does work with you that way. It won't go, oh, Chrism, you've been breaking the speed limit, and all that's bad car karma for you. She won't do that. She won't talk to you that way. She probably wouldn't joke with you that way either. she lets me do that, So realize that you are cared for and you are protected, but you are also challenged. You are challenged, and yet you are also rewarded for meeting those challenges. It's like when you're in grade school and you get the test completely right. I mean, every answer you've nailed it, and the teacher congratulates you, and you just feel that great sense of accomplishment. Well, it's much more than that with the Kundalini. It will give you bliss. It will put you into a state of bliss. I had bliss watching a movie today. I had bliss just because of the amount of truth that was being pushed through that movie, which and so did Magdalene. She had a lot of bliss too. So it's very important for you to realize that this is a full spectrum Kundalini experience. Full spectrum, meaning that all the goodness that you have to experience, and the joy and the bliss and the ecstasy is there for you to have. But it's also all the negative self-talk, the behaviors that are hurtful towards others, the behaviors that are hurtful towards yourself. All of those issues are also going to be covered by the Kundalini. She's not going to leave that alone. This isn't a balloon ride straight into bliss. This is a full spectrum experience. And so you will be not only I need to put this into the conversation here. Not only is your current life experience being tested and being expanded by the Kundalini, but she's also helping you meet your karmic responsibilities. The amount of karma that a person has brought into this life. And certainly, if you have when a person has a Kundalini awakening proclivity happen for them within this life, it is known before they even take the body, the physical body that you have right now, before you even took that, you knew that as you entered into that compact, as you went behind the veil, you were going to have some fairly rough karmic experiences. Not everybody, and not everybody gets it the same way. We're all unique in our karma, but the karma is also part of the equation that's going to be balanced by the Kundalini. Okay? And, getting back to my driving, if you're a person that's breaking the rules on the road a lot, and you just, the rules of the road don't apply to you, well, that is kind of a mark on your integrity. That is a mark on your agreement to do the best you can, to be as balanced as you can within the many different challenges as a person. Okay, and I'm guilty of that too. I'll come right out there and say it. It hasn't hurt my awakening, but it hasn't, it doesn't help it to just purposefully break a rule that we've all agreed upon. That like in the States, in California, for instance, the top speed typically is 65 miles an hour, whereas you go to Arizona, it's 70, 75. Nevada, 70 or 75. But in California, it's 65. And so, I can move to Arizona. I could move to Nevada, but I choose to stay in California at this time. And so, because I'm making that choice, I'm also making a choice to abide by the rules of the road that pertain to California driving. I'm getting at. You don't get to short-circuit your way around your responsibilities. And, it's something for you to consider with regards to how you approach life within a Kundalini awakening context. Are you here to break the rules? Are you here to just do the bliss and not do any of the hard work? And I'm not making any kind of a comment to you, Tim. I want to thank you for asking such an excellent question, because it's something that other people in the archives in the future, and maybe some of the other people present listening right now are can wonder about. It's like, wow, why would the Kundalini want to give me fear? And why would that be part of the deal? And as I explained, it is part of the deal, because you need to get through it. You need to get it out of your system. And then your Kundalini Awakening Temple can proceed onto the next level of its construction within you. Okay? And as we get back to some of the conversation I was having about the rishis, they gave us some great gifts. And I'm going to give you one of these gifts right now, but I'm going to have to walk over there to get it. Hang on a second. You can probably still hear me. Got to come over here to my backpack, pull it out, and here we are, coming right back to you. Put my headset on here, and let me give you a gift from the rishis. This is from the Rig. Rig Veda is one of the oldest books in the world. It was written by the rishis that were Kundalini awakened for the Kundalini awakened people of the future, but it also helps those people who are not Kundalini awakened come into a greater level of spiritual evolution. And I want to say thank you to the rishis of the Sanskriti culture some 5, 6, 7,000 years ago. About the same amount of time, by the way, of those who were putting Newgrange and Milk together. Some of you may recognize this, and I'll tell you what it is when I'm finished reading it. Here we go. Body of all, mind of all, spirit of all. May we meditate on the Supreme, on the all-pervading radiance of the ultimate source of divine light. May He inspire the innermost thoughts of our hearts. Okay. Anybody know what that is? That's the Gayatri mantra, for those of you. Now, get into a lot of Sanskrit work here, because I know that most people aren't going to understand the Sanskriti language. But it is beautiful. It is a beautiful, beautiful language. But right now I'm going to get into some of the words in English that a direct transliteration is suggesting. And this is, all of these are about the Kundalini. These selected readings that I'm going to give you right now is about the Kundalini. And here's another one, and this is from the Isa Upanishad, okay? That is perfect. This is perfect. Perfect arises from perfect. Having taken the perfect of perfects, perfect alone remains. Peace, peace, peace. This is from the Kina Upanishad. All my parts, speech, life, sight, hearing, strength, and senses be fulfilled. Spirit is revealed through every scripture. May I not deny spirit. Spirit has never denied me. May there be no cause for denial. May I never be denied. May the truths which the Scriptures proclaim live in me, who am at one with Spirit. May they live in me. Peace. 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 Okay. This is just a couple of, 3 examples of what the Sanskriti have left us with regards to their oral history and with regards to the effect that their intentions can have in a positive way on our Kundalini awakening experience. And also, as you walk around the Newgrange site in Ireland, and as you walk around the mounds in Ireland, similar things are being spoken to you, but they're just not being spoken to you in an oral or written language that you'll readily recognize. They're being spoken to you in a language that is that of symbol, and yet the symbols are cross-cultural. There's just one picture out there that shows divine rays. Well, when I was doing the New York seminar, and hello to all of those who may be listening that were partaking of the New York seminar, and I'd like to put a special hello to Chrism Harris, if she is out there. So hello to you, Chrism Harris. I went into a lot of bliss during and before the New York seminar, and one of the visuals that I was given from the Kundalini was, it was like dipping my head into a ray of sunshine or a ray of light, a divine ray. And every time I dipped my head into that ray, I would go into bliss. And so in a way, the Kundalini was allowing me to go into bliss whenever I wanted, but it also knew that I was right in the middle of a seminar, standing up in front of a group of people. Okay, so, and it also knows me well enough to know that I'm not going to turn into a bliss bunny. But they had that divine ray the way I saw it, chiseled into one of the rocks. It was just amazing, and it totally floored me when I saw it, and I totally made that connection, that immediate connection. And, that was just one of many other, from the spirals to different symbols of Kundalini awakening, eyes, snakes, serpent forms, triangles, things of that nature. And so when you walk around those places, you also receive a poetry and prayers that are just as evocative and just as devotional and powerful as the words that the rishis have blessed us with. Okay, and let's see, I've got 47 minutes left, and so I would like to open it up for anybody that may have a question about their Kundalini awakening experience. The number is 347-934-0026. So yeah, if you've had an experience with the Kundalini, such as Steve mentioned, he's actively interested in getting into his Kundalini more. And what a blessing he is. He has a center in... Steve, would you go ahead and post some of your information about your center there and relay that to Santara so that I can relay it, or she can relay it to the people who are listening, just so people know who you are and where you are and what you do. I would also like to take a moment to compliment Emilia Santara in her therapeutic applications that the Kundalini does through her, and this is called Kundalini Infused Therapeutic Touch. And tomorrow she'll be working with cancer patients, which is something that she does once a week, I believe. And I would like, she had a real big car problem lately, and I would like us to put some prayers out to Kundalini for her car to be fixed, to support the blessed work that she does with cancer patients and people who have been traumatized through illness or through violence. Emilia Santara does a great great work upon this planet, far more so than you know, just by virtue of her presence on this program and her support of this program by it being even here. That's Amelia and her husband, John. You're listening to this program because Amelia and John made it so. So it's important. It's important for us to maybe give back a little bit to her and John so that Kundalini can work things in ways that I cannot even begin to describe to you. And if we put out a concerted prayer from Lea Centaure's Peugeot Picasso, I guess is.
It's a citron.
Sorry.
That's okay. I don't think you've ever called it a Peugeot. It's a citron. I think they're related though.
Peugeot and citron are the same. What's the full name of it? It's a 2008.
It's a Citroen Picasso Grand. Citroen Grand Picasso C4 it's called, and it's
so we need to put some prayers out for that. Yeah, we need to put some prayers out for that. But I want to thank you for this amazing work you do with the cancer patients and the people that have suffered from domestic violence or just violence in general. And it's a real blessing that you're giving into the populations, not only the Kundalini populations, but also the unawakened populations as well. I want you to be recognized.
Joy. It's a joy and a privilege. It really is. Steve has actually written something. It's the Good Vibes Health Center in Pittsburgh. And
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Good Vibes Healthcenter.com. Yeah, in Pennsylvania. And
they do everything. You're welcome. You're welcome, my dear. Absolutely. And Steve does everything from Reiki, which I guess everybody knows how I feel about Reiki. But he also does EFT, and he does Tibetan bowls, and he does, a full range of different practices that are all designed, I think, to help a person have a high and strong level of health in their life, certainly spiritual health, but perhaps some physical health as well. And I know that Mrs. Jarecki is also heavily involved in that center. And so I'd like to say blessings to you both, and Steve, I look forward to seeing you in Minnesota. So as we continue this conversation, our ancestry from the Neolithic all the way up to the present time is inclusive of the Kundalini. This current civilization here in the West, which is in many ways it's a dominant. Yes, Amelia.
Steve asks a question, Chrism. Could you give us a prayer for daily connection with Kundalini?
I think I've written one for that. Is Eileen listening? Eileen, can you get that prayer going here?
I surrender to God. I surrender to.
That one, yeah.
You're asking
Hi, Eileen.
Which one? Hi, are you asking for the Shakti prayer?
No, the surrender prayer.
Oh, the surrender prayer. I can post it.
Read it.
Oh,
read it now.
I have
Put her on the spot. Yeah. I don't have it in a written form, and I when the Kundalini writes these things, I don't get to form a memory engram of it. So Steve, as soon as Eileen is able to dig that up, she'll go ahead and read that on the air. Another one that is the Shakti prayer. And I'm going to break one of my rules with the Shakti prayer is if you're going to say the Shakti prayer once, you need to say it 3 times. So Steve, are you familiar with the Shakti prayer? I think you are if you've been doing the Shakti pots. I think you've done this last Shakti pot, so you must be familiar with that. And Centauri, you can pop on if you want and let me know what his response is. That is a very, very effective prayer. Go ahead, Eileen.
I did find it. It's entitled, I surrender to love, I surrender to truth, I surrender to God. In my thoughts and actions with myself and towards others, I give my love and considerations of love towards their well-being and my well-being, and towards the highest potentials that we can achieve within the choices we make for the expression of our development towards love and loving and being loved. In the flow of my life, I choose to give health and harmony as an expression of love. I choose to have health and reflect health and happiness to those with whom I interact. Take full responsibility for my actions and my thoughts and my emotional intentions within the interactions that are expressed by me towards others and towards myself and towards God. I choose to join with divinity and offer love and accept love in the journey towards my conscious understanding of the wholeness that I am.
Thank you, Eileen. You read that well. Very well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for taking the time to look it up, too, my dear. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, there you have it, Steve. There you have it. That's one that you can do. That's also, I believe, a YouTube, one of the YouTube videos as well. So, yeah, you can do that. You can, the prayer just comes, you can make your own prayer, really. Make one that suits you. Some people like to rhyme. Some of my poetry is quite rhymey because I hear it as music kind of first, and I like to have some of the lyrics rhyme when I'm writing that way. But others don't. You don't need to have a rhyme prayer. It's helpful to write your own poetry or your own prayers because it's the Kundalini in you. Write it. It's helping you select the phrase. It's helping you work with your own level of enlightenment. And let's not forget that this is what this is about. It is an enlightenment process. You are becoming enlightened. It's just that, here in the West, we're so, we flick a switch and the light comes on. Okay? Kundalini isn't the flick of a switch. Kundalini opens a very special quality of light to a person. But you have to engage the Kundalini. You can't be resisting it. You can't be trying to control it. You have to open yourself to you. And by control of you, you will learn what its agenda with you really is. And it isn't to hurt. It's not to hurt you. It's to cleanse you. It's to detox you. It's to bring you into the fullness of your actual true nature. This is what Kundalini is about. I don't care what religion a person practices or what job they have or how much money they have or don't have. Kundalini is always there with you, working with you, talking with you, helping you, guiding you. And as I was mentioning to Tim earlier, it's not all about guiding you to, a beautiful island in the middle of the Caribbean. Sometimes it'll guide you, into your backyard where you need to fix the fence. Okay. Sometimes it'll guide you into the worst places you could imagine, only to guide you out of it once you've solved the equations that those worst places are offering to be solved. It's important that you do the hard work, but it's also important for you to validate how the Kundalini is with you. is it giving you pain? And if it's giving you pain, why is it giving you pain? And if you're trying to make the pain stop, which I can totally understand, where is it in your experience of this pain that it comprises a resistance to what the Kundalini is trying to do with you? So, for instance, if you're a meat eater and all of a sudden the Kundalini says, well, I want you to be vegetarian now, but you go ahead and you eat meat anyway because it's what you want to do. It's how you like to live. And the Kundalini begins to punish you for this because you entered into an agreement even before you took the body to have the Kundalini. The Kundalini, and you know you have the Kundalini, and you decide to go against it anyway. The prime rib is just too darn good, or that T-bone steak, or whatever. And you go ahead and you purposely resist the Kundalini, and you start developing some real problems with your digestive tract. You see where I'm going with this? So it's really not open to you having control over it. Because it knows you better than you know yourself, and it knows the dynamic of spiritual evolution better than the 5 sense human being can ever know it. Then you need to pay attention, and part of paying attention is to stop resisting its presence within you or its agenda within you. It's very important that you begin to accept the Kundalini agenda as your agenda. And yes, that may involve Kriyas. You may have to have Kriyas. A good friend of mine has been having Kriyas for 4.5 years. And we're not talking little ones. Okay? Everybody's got that unique aspect to their equation. Steve will have one thing, Tim will have another, Amelia will have something else, and Eileen's will be completely different. You know, that is the typical scenario, and yet we will have some similarity, and it's in those similarities that allow us to help each other and to support each other as we go forward on this path. Okay, so if you have a question about your Kundalini awakening experience, feel free to call 347-934-0026, and I'd be happy to take your question as best as myself and the Kundalini within me is able to take it. And let's see. Let me do another reading here. This is a creation reading from the Rishis. Sorry about all the noise here. This is the hymn of creation. And once again, I'd like you to listen to the voice. Close your eyes and see what is being given to you. The hymn of creation. Then what is not was not. What is was not. The intervening divine motion of creation was not, nor yet the expanse of heaven to shelter that motion. Was it hid? Where? By whose enveloping care? Was it water? The fathomless abyss? Then death was not. Immortal life was not, nor any distinction of night and day. Without aid of breath, by inherent might, that one breathed of a certainty beyond. That was none other. In the beginning, pregnant darkness was, by dissolving darkness, secretly enfolded, unformed, unseparate. That fluid was this entire creation. While the boundless source of being was by unformed being thus enclosed, that one, through light of knowledge, brought itself forth to be. In the beginning, self-delight, love, and desire evolved on that, and were together the first germ of mind. By power of mind, the poets penetrated the heart and found there was the bond of truth in illusion. Out went their line crosswise. Was there above? Was there below? Progenitors were there. Powers to magnify were there. From below, pure potency for self-birth. From above, the force to move, raise, and fill. Who truly knows? Who here could proclaim whence born, whence this detailed self-expression? Of this the gods limitedly, reverently are in virtue of this flowing utterance. Now, who knows whence it became? Whence this detailed self-radiance came, whether created or not? Only in the highest heaven, who is of this witness, knows whether it knows or not. That is actually to be sung, believe it or not. That is the hymn of creation, and that's given to us by the rishis. So let's see. Looks like we don't have any callers, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this conversation to a close because, you know, I'm here at 1:30 in the morning, and these walls are thin. I don't want to. So I appreciate everybody who has come to listen, and I appreciate everybody who's listening in the archives. And Amelia Santara, thank you. Eileen, thank you. And all the callers, Tim, Steve, questions were wonderful. And the presence of Julie and Fashchi and the other folks, Rosemary, thank you. And Eileen, if you would give another announcement about your Minnesota seminar.
Oh, all right. The seminar will be at the end of September 27th and 28th. Everyone is invited. And if you have questions, you will need to get in touch with Rosemary. And I don't have her email in front of me, so
give them yours.
Oh, okay, my email is eloro55@yahoo.com. And we hope to see many people there.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Eileen. All right, my dear. And Amelia, any last words for this conversation?
Thank you for this conversation, Chrism. And just to say that Tim said thank you for what you said about fear, just to let you know that. Thank you very much, and I look forward to next week's conversation.
All right, everybody. Good night.
Naturtrüb und erfrischend fruchtig. Richtig lecker. Krombacher Radler Naturtrüb. Der kräftige Radlergenuss aus naturtrübem Krombacher Kellerbier und fruchtiger Zitronenlimonade. Erfrischend fruchtig und weniger süß im Geschmack. Krombacher Radler Naturtrüb. Probieren Sie es selbst.